Hi guys, FreDDie B here. It is April 4th. It is the week of Japan. It's also the NCAA tournament's Final Four, so we'll talk about FreDDie B's pathetic picks and my predictions for both of these great events that are coming up this weekend, culminating in the NCAA championship game Monday night. But first, let's talk about Formula One news and some of the things that I've noticed over the last couple of weeks that perhaps you have too. I'll give you my particular take on it. Sebastian Vettel may be coming back to Formula One. That'd be interesting. There's rumors he's talking to Mercedes-Benz. So Mercedes has got seats. Ferrari has filled their seats. I think that might be a mistake. And there's 13 drivers that are without a contract next year. So some are going to go away. We're going to get some new ones in here. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see a driver change or two coming up at the mid-season break also this year. But Vettel, he's been out of the sport about 5 years or so. He's not interested he's not familiar with this particular rules package or anything, but I do believe that any car you put him in, if it is a competitive car, he would still be a very, very competitive driver. The question is how much is it going to cost? What's your time frame? Is he going to help develop the car, or is he only going in for himself? I don't mean that in a self-aggrandizing way, but does he bring, other than instant fame and popularity to the team because of his fame and popularity? Is there more to that? And is he regretting maybe leaving Aston Martin maybe 1 year too soon? Who knows? But that's my take on Vettel. Love to see him back. Obviously, four-time champion. Great driver. Don't know where Sainz is going to, but after his win, you've got to think that the Australian Grand Prix champion, coming back after 2 weeks from surgery. I had an appendectomy. Mine was a lot more serious than his. I spent 10 days in a hospital. He's racing cars 2 weeks after he has his appendix taken out. That's incredible. That's durability. And yet, here's a guy who's going to be on the unemployment line, albeit I don't think long. I think the list is long and deep of those people that would like to have Carlos Sainz drive their race car next year. One of whom, regrettably, might be Ferrari. I don't know if they made the right decision or not. Only time will tell. I think the fact that Ferrari's always wanted Lewis Hamilton and Lewis Hamilton always wanted Ferrari. It's the last year of basically of this rules package, because 2026 we get a new rules package. So it might be a good time to experiment. Wouldn't it be interesting if they just swapped places for a year? But I think Lewis Hamilton might race for this last year. Ferrari's on the rise. There's a chance he could win a championship, although he's got to worry about Charles Leclerc, who is their number one driver. So Hamilton, I don't know that you're going to have co-number one drivers with Ferrari. Somebody's going to rise to the top there, but I'm pretty sure Ferrari, in my opinion, is going to probably shade toward Hamilton, at least for this year, although Leclerc is their long-term pick. Having said that, where's Sainz going to go? Could he go to Mercedes? I don't think so. I still think his best shot might be to step down, go to Sauber, wait for them to become Audi, if he's willing to spend a couple years developing that car. But again, don't know. I think if the money's right, he'd do it. That's what I think will happen with Sainz. But obviously, he's one of the best drivers on the grid. So he's going to have his pick. And then as his domino selects, I think a lot of dominoes will fall in the driver race. Not so sure that Alex Albon might not come up from Williams to Mercedes-Benz. I'd like that because he's got the most beautiful girlfriend. Anyway, Mercedes got an overheating problem in Australia. I think if they overcome that, they're going to be competitive. They had to shut the cars down, and because Lewis' engine was overheating. I think that's an air ducting issue. They seem to think it's the same thing. They may have it solved. So I would expect them to be much more competitive this time in Japan. It's also a fast track. Mercedes has got a lot of speed. They don't have the speed like the Red Bull Ferrari, but they've got a lot of speed. But we'll see how they do there. And speaking of Ferrari, they're bringing upgrades to the track, as are McLaren. And slight upgrades to everybody else. And Logan Sargent is back in the Williams. His chassis is actually going to be the chassis that was wrecked by Albon. So they kind of switch chassis, they switch cars. I mean, they take these cars apart and put them back together again. So I'm sure all the components are Logan's components on this chassis. But Logan assures everybody that the chassis is put back together and it's stronger than it was and may actually be better having been through that, because they might have tweaked it a bit. Who knows? But Logan's in a good frame of mind. I wish him well. I want him to do well in Formula One. I want to see an American driver do great there. Alonso's penalty at Australia, I think, was bull. A brake check is kind of it's a sneaky way to you get your opponent to make a mistake, and it worked really well for Alonso. And I'm not saying that I think George might have overreacted behind the wheel, and it was the fact that the car wrecked and has some severe damage in the way it ended up on the track. I think all of that led to this Alonso penalty, because I think in any normal race situation, you're going to get brake checked. I've been brake checked. If nothing happens, you're just going to yell about it and go forward. So I kind of feel that Alonso's got something to prove. We'll see how the Aston Martins do this weekend at Japan. I think they're going to probably do well. I really think the top 5 teams are all going to do pretty good. Checo is back under scrutiny. I mean, here's a guy, first 2 races, second place, doesn't get a podium in Australia. He had a grid penalty, never could really get up to the point where he could compete against the Ferraris, McLarens, because of his grid penalty, and also I think he had some underfloor damage. But you're talking a guy, I've never seen somebody get so much grief for being such a really, really good race car driver as Checo. It's really a shame. I know that everybody, Horner says, hey, if he just does his job, he's going to get re-signed. If I were him, I'm not sure that I'd want to. I mean, you got the best car in the thing, but I think he could develop a car. I wouldn't be surprised. Again, speculation on my part, Checo, Sainz, Audi, maybe 2026. Okay? And then lastly, let's go to predictions for the Japanese Gran Prix. Fast racetrack, not a lot of slow speed corners. Going to favor the Red Bulls and the McLarens, actually McLaren needs to get better in the low speed, but they've got a lot of the high speed, and there is a lot of good high speed stuff here at Suzuka. It's going to be a great race. But I'm going to have to probably stick that if Max doesn't break, he's going to win. I'm going to put Checo back in second again, and let's say Sainz in third with the Ferrari. I think Sainz does a better job with this car than Leclerc. I think Leclerc might be faster in one single lap than Sainz, but Sainz might prove to be the better race driver. All right, so the NCAAs are this week. We got the NCAA Final Four. We've got North Carolina State at South Carolina. NC State came in as a number 11 seed. Remember, that's not right. This must be the ladies. Sorry, pardon me. Let me go to the men's here. God, I'm an idiot. But that's okay. That's why we do these things. Let me find the men. I don't know how to do the ladies again. You know who's going to win? The ladies going to win is Iowa. They're going to win. But here we go. Here we are. Final Four in the men's. Isn't it neat that NC State, undefeated in the women's, is in the Final Four? NC State, an 11th seed in the men's, is in the Final Four. They're playing number 1 Purdue. Okay? Wow. Going to be tough. That is a Saturday game. Okay? And NC State's been on such a run. They've played so well. They decimated Duke in the second half of that game. they still might be on that flyer, on that Cinderella story. They could upset Purdue, although Purdue's got to be a prohibitive favorite there. But then again, Duke was a favorite too. I mean, it's funny, every game that NC State played, their margins of being a dog or underdog kept coming down. I think they were only a 2 or 3 point dog to Duke, and they beat them, and they beat them sizably. So I'm going to go out on a limb because I'm an ACC fan, and I'm going to say NC State upsets Purdue in that side of the bracket. And then we've got number 1 UConn against Alabama. Alabama SEC team, UConn I think still in the Big East. Both damn good teams. Alabama played a great game against Clemson. But I think they're done. And I think it's going to be UConn is going to beat Alabama in that side. So then my final on Monday night for FreDDie B's Pathetic Picks are going to be UConn against NC State. And I just don't see NC State beating UConn. They are so strong. They are by far the class of the field. Number 1 seed for a reason. If you took all the number 1 seeds and put them, which you have 2 of the number 1s, so people do really well when they do this seeding. I think UConn wins that game, and that's Monday night. So I'm going to pick Iowa for the ladies, UConn for the men, and those are FreDDie B's fabulous picks. Enjoy watching Japan. I think it's going to be a great Grand Prix, and we'll talk to you later. Ta-ta for now.